Welcome to Adult ypww Lesson 13. Today's topic is prayer and actions. The lesson text is coming out of Joshua chapter 7, verses 1 through 13. The memory verse. I will read the King James Version first and then the New International Version of James chapter 2, verses 15 and 16. If a brother or sister be naked and destitute of daily food, and one of you say unto them, Depart in peace, be ye warmed and filled, notwithstanding ye give them not those things which are needful to the body, what doth it profit? The New International Version of James chapter 2, verses 15 and 16. Suppose a brother or a sister is without clothes and daily food. If one of you says to them, Go in peace, keep warm and well fed, but does nothing about their physical needs, what good is it? Israel had just experienced a great defeat, and that too at the hands of an almost contemptible foe. Strong in the Lord's protection and their own vastly superior numbers, they had sent against the little town of Ai a detachment of 3,000 men, which they seemed more than sufficient to destroy. And instead of the easy victory they had reckoned on, they had suffered an unbelievable defeat. Wherefore, says the sacred writer, the hearts of the people were melted and became as water. In a situation like this, what religious exercise would seem most fitting for Joshua? As we should expect, he rented his clothes and fell upon his face in prayer before the ark of the Lord, and the Lord's answer is given in the words of the text. Get thee up. Wherefore liest thou thus upon thy face? The answer sounds strange at first. It seems that God almost rebukes Joshua for praying. He gives him back his own wherefore in the question that sounds so harsh. Wherefore art thou thus fallen upon thy face? But the harshness is only apparent and serves to point the following lesson that the cause of the disaster is with Israel, not with God, and that therefore the remedy is not in prayer, but in active steps to cast out the unclean thing. It is as if God would teach Joshua and us that even prayer alone becomes inappropriate when the situation also demands action. Right action is a prayer and one of the noblest forms of worship. In the Middle Ages, those who made it the first object of their lives to save their souls used to shut themselves up in monasteries where they might offer up the sacrifice of devotion night and day. Often they almost seemed to themselves to be losing their chance of heaven. If to perform the necessary duties of the house and garden, they missed even one of the endless round of services, so that their albats were compelled to teach them that phrase which has become a proverb ever since. Labor is a kind of prayer. However, at times even this, which we deem the highest act of devotion, may become a snare to us if it leads us to neglect or ignore the not less necessary duties of practical life. Sometimes we are all too apt to look at what we call our religious duties as something that is separate from our daily lives. We are apt to slide into the mere politician's distinction between matters secular and matters of religion. Now, as a simple matter of fact, any such distinction as this is everlastingly impossible. If religion is, as it is, the art of being and doing good, there is no action whatever that is not, in a sense, religious. If a thing is worth doing at all, it is worth doing as unto the Lord. It follows from all this that there is no sphere of action that has not a religious side. That is not, strictly speaking, religious. We must set ourselves as Christians to try what we can do to improve the surroundings of our less fortunate brethren, to provide for them such conditions of life as shall make cleanliness and decency, and consequently health and immunity from disease, at least possible to them. It may be that God may have to say to us in such a case, as he has said to Joshua, and as he has said to countless selfish religionists in all ages, if they had but listened, even as they prostrated themselves in devotion before his altar. Get thee up. Wherefore liest thou thus upon thy face? The questions for today's lesson. Number 1, what situation had just happened to cause Joshua to pray? Number 2, what does the phrase, Number 2, would you say that Joshua was rebuking God in his prayer? Number 3, what does the phrase rent his clothes mean? Number 4, would you say God rebuked Joshua in his prayer? Number 5, what was the accursed thing referred to? Number 6, what action did Israel have to perform before their prayers could be answered? The end. God bless you and thank you for joining me today.